Forest therapy is kind of like the modern day incarnation of wabi tea. It's like offering people a chance to just escape into the wild and just experience what it is like to be. I always come back to this quote, Joseph Campbell. He said, "People don't want to know the meaning of life, they want to know what it feels like to be alive."
Hi, I'm Sally. I'm the creative director at the Lore Company. We're out here at the Angeles National Forest experiencing something called forest therapy. And I don't really know what to expect here, but I've done things like hiking, camping, yoga, so that's kind of what I'm expecting to see here today, if you just merge all of those. So I'm really excited. Let's go do this.
A guy named Switzer came and built this initial campground, and Switzer was motivated by this idea that people really needed to escape the fast-paced lifestyle of the urban city.
My name is Ben Page. I'm a certified forest therapy guide, and I also train and mentor forest therapy guides with the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy. So Shinrin Yoku translates as forest bathing. And in the 1980s, the Japanese government was having this problem where their economy was going through a tech boom. So everyone was going inside and sitting at a desk and typing and not going outside, fluorescent lights, it was not a comfortable place. But they noticed that a lot of people were getting cancer and autoimmune disease. And so they put all this money into a research project about what happens when you expose human subjects to the forest environment. And one of the things they discovered is that trees keep themselves healthy by showering themselves in these chemicals called phytoncides. When we inhale phytoncides, it triggers the production of a special white blood cell called a natural killer cell, or an NK cell. And these white blood cells search out and destroy cancerous and tumorous growth in the human body. So the Japanese were like, wow, this is kind of incredible. This is basically a preventative form of care for cancer. And the reason they called it Shinrin Yoku is because when we're out here, we are bathing in these phytoncides. So Shinrin Yoku forest bathing is really about immersing ourselves in this medicine of the forest and just inhaling it.
And let's just start with taking a couple deep breaths, just really noticing what the sensation of breathing really feels like. Perhaps slowly bringing the palms together and just rubbing them lightly against each other. What does it feel like when your skin touches itself? Just go ahead and acknowledge that feeling and just be with it for a moment. So our prompt for counsel is really simple. It's just, what are you noticing right now?
I could not get enough of the way the breeze was tickling my arm hairs. I kept rotating my arm just to feel it, and it just never stopped. And every way that I would rotate just felt amazing.
I'm really noticing the breeze. It's just so gentle, but not gentle enough that you can't feel it, and it just feels really nice.
So I'm wearing shape-ups, so it kind of made me want to rock back and forth. And I noticed just all of the twigs, the rocks underneath my feet. I thought that was a great sensation.
Well, every experience is really unique with me. I'm working in partnership with the forest, so I don't go into it with a really set agenda of this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. It's very improvisational and just kind of reading my partnership with the forest and working with what is offered. The collateral impact is that the mind really starts quieting down.
Again, the prompt is super simple. Just, what are you noticing right now? Someone want to start?
I loved the creek. I was pretty much walking down the creek the whole time. And it seemed like a metaphor for life. That you look at this whole big, collective humanity, but when you get closer, there's all these little different paths and details.
Depending on your perspective, everything's always moving, and I make a footstep and that affects either the ant under my foot or the dirt under my foot. The shape changes.
Well, we're asked to sit with the tree, get to know a tree, feeling kind of tree huggerish, but in a good way. The sound of the water, I think, is what calls me the most here, which is why I'm kind of gravitating towards the water. But overall, it's a good experience so far. I've called this tree. This is mine. I feel we're like soulmates, you know? Our stars have crossed. Oh my gosh, even with this music now, this is it. This is how I die. I'm staying here. Just like come back for me.
So those dealer's choice invitations, it's kind of about working to open sensory connection between the humans on the walk and the beings that live in this forest.
God, I don't know what this is. What is this? Found it on this guy. Not sure. I couldn't tell ya, but I like it.
So whoever has the biggest thing is going to start, and we'll just use this as our canvas here. So who has the biggest thing?
I think maybe.
I think you, yeah. So why don't you go first, and we'll just go around in a circle, just placing one thing in at a time. What is it that you're seeing in this piece of art that we've created together in front of you?
It felt very communal, very Thanksgiving-esque. Kind of like if we were living at a time when our ancestors were, and each would farm their own thing.
I was looking for every texture I could find, and I was loving every minute of it, and I felt like a little kid again, just like, you know, everything was amazing.
It made me feel very small, and it was humbling to, you know, just focus on these building blocks of life.
I really liked how smooth some things felt, and then how like bumpy they kind of felt. Felt really nice when it was a smooth texture for whatever reason, and this makes me feel like we're connected.
There's 6 of us and there's 7 cups, and if you've done this before, you know that it's a tradition on my walk to offer the first cup of tea to the forest. So I was wondering if I pour this cup of tea, if someone would be willing to offer it to the forest on our behalf. All right.
Forrest, thank you for being here. You've been here long before we were, and you'll be here much longer after we're gone.
And I was noticing that we're such a loud specimen on this earth. Like, we're so loud. Like I could hear the birds too, and like they're like soft and like gentle, and then the airplane was just so loud, and I was like, man, our impact on the world is so loud, and that we really need to be conscious of what we do.
Everyone, I think, can get entertainment and joy out of other living beings, and I was just very thankful for these bugs that were just dancing around for my entertainment. That's basically what I looked at the whole time.
I just want to say thank you all so much for coming. And I know this is really healthy for me to come out here, and I'm glad I get to share it with you guys. And you know, you're always welcome to come. Sitting here in this moment, very tasty cookie. Felt like I had to switch up the cookie game because you guys always get that other cookie.
Like little tea houses also. No, really? Yeah, I always love it. I always feel super relaxed, and I feel like I get clarity, like especially when I talk to the trees. When he has us do that exercise, I feel that I get a response back, like nature is helping me with whatever I'm going through.
The real big thing that I'm taking away from the Shinrin Yoku walk was being centered and appreciating and understanding my surroundings.
When people really slow down and they say, look, this tree has cracks in it, it's obviously been damaged, but it's at the same time, it's perfect. Like, it's perfect in its imperfection, just like me, you know? So I think people get a lot of wisdom just seeing that the forest is really real. It's kind of devoid of all the layers of artifice and judgment that we tend to have in our society around, like, just the reality of being ourselves. And each tree is on its own journey, you know, just like us. Each leaf, each being, each river, each rock. Like, the rock never achieves perfection because that's not the objective, right? It's flowing with what is real, and it's accepting itself with a certain amount of compassion. And I think if people can really tap into that wisdom, then we would just be a more happy society, a less stressed society, and people would be able to, you know, fall in love a little more easily with the world, with themselves.
So earlier I was talking about what my expectations were going into this experience, and how I said, I think that it's going to be kind of like yoga, kind of like meditation, and kind of like hiking. And arguably it is to some extent, but I think in the grander scheme of things, when you're actually experiencing it, you're actually here, you're actually present with nature, with the trees and the water, it's a whole other experience. It's kind of outer-worldly, where you come out feeling, I guess, a bigger sense of who you are, bigger sense of your surroundings, a bigger sense of what your goals are, and really trying to prioritize what is important to you. If you're interested in checking out this experience, you should definitely do that on their Airbnb or their website.